The entertainment industry has always been captivated by the rise and fall of stars. It builds narratives of discovery, transformation, and ultimately, decline, often faster than the public can keep up. And currently, one of the most dramatic examples unfolding in real time is the curious case of Rachel Zegler. Once hailed as a breakthrough talent and the next big thing in Hollywood, Zegler is now experiencing a steep and public downturn in both career and public image. This isn't your typical celebrity misstep. It's a multi-layered case study involving misaligned marketing, tone-deaf PR, audience disconnection, and perhaps most critically, the inability to understand what today's audiences actually want from their stars. At the center of this unraveling is Zegler's stage debut in the musical Evita at the London Palladium, one of the most iconic theaters in the world. For many performers, this would be a career milestone, an opportunity to connect with live audiences and show depth beyond the silver screen. But instead of becoming a triumphant moment, Zegler's debut is shaping up to be a major failure. Ticket sales have been shockingly low. Visuals of the ticket maps online show vast swaths of empty seats, even for performances just days away. And this isn't a pricing issue. Even the cheapest tickets, priced modestly around £29.50, aren't selling. The absence of demand speaks volumes. Her team and some defenders online have blamed the low turnout on targeted online backlash or orchestrated boycotts. But the truth is far simpler and more damning. People just aren't interested. This apathy signals a critical problem, one that goes beyond a single play. It's emblematic of a career that, despite industry support, has failed to resonate with the wider public. Zegler's trajectory started promisingly. She was handpicked by none other than Steven Spielberg to lead his 2021 adaptation of West Side Story, a role most newcomers could only dream of. The film, however, underperformed at the box office despite a well-known brand, a beloved musical score, and heavy promotional efforts. Zegler herself won a Golden Globe, but even that couldn't elevate the film into mainstream success. Still, Hollywood doubled down. Disney cast her as Snow White in their upcoming live-action remake, seemingly confident that she was destined for stardom. But what followed was one of the most poorly managed press tours in recent memory. Instead of embracing the legacy of Snow White or the generations of fans who grew up with the character, Zegler chose to critique it. In interviews, she dismissed the original 1937 film as outdated and even problematic. She referred to the prince as a stalker and scoffed at the traditional love story, suggesting her version of Snow White would be an empowered woman who doesn't need saving. While the intention may have been to position the remake as modern and feminist, the tone came off as condescending. Many fans didn't hear thoughtful critique, they heard disdain. And that perception can be deadly. This led to a growing disconnect between the audience and the actress. People who wanted to support a young woman of color taking on an iconic role instead felt like they were being talked down to. Fans who loved Disney classics didn't appreciate being told that their childhood favorites were regressive or unworthy of admiration. This wasn't a matter of political correctness or cancel culture. It was a failure to understand the delicate balance between reinterpretation and respect for legacy. What's even more telling is the industry's reaction. During the height of the Snow White backlash, there was minimal visible support for Zegler. No major co-stars came forward to defend her publicly. Theaters, talk shows, and entertainment media began shifting the spotlight away. And now, with Evita crumbling, that silence has only grown louder. There are no excited tweets from castmates, no behind-the-scenes promotional content to generate hype. The vibe is muted, cautious, and borderline indifferent. It's as if everyone is waiting for the inevitable, distancing themselves without having to say a word. This quiet exodus from industry allies is arguably more telling than any critical headline. When a rising star falters, the usual PR playbook is to rally support, build sympathy, and craft a comeback narrative. None of that appears to be happening here. Instead, Zegler has continued to post cryptic and sometimes defensive content on social media. Rather than demonstrating self-awareness or growth, she seems to be doubling down on a persona that the public has already rejected. It's not helping her cause. In fact, it's reinforcing the belief that she's out of touch. Meanwhile, audience perception continues to sour. Comments across social platforms range from frustrated disappointment to outright mockery. Many people express the sentiment, "I wanted to root for her, but I just can't anymore." There's a psychological shift that occurs when audiences go from passive observers to active critics. Once someone becomes perceived as ungrateful, arrogant, or dismissive of fan culture, the goodwill evaporates. And in Zegler's case, that process has been swift and unforgiving. From an industry standpoint, she's becoming what insiders call a business risk. There are even quiet whispers that she's becoming uninsurable, a term used to describe actors whose presence on a project could pose financial or reputational danger. This doesn't just mean she's disliked. It means studios see her as someone who could jeopardize a production's success. Evidence of this is already surfacing. Some projects where she was once the face are being quietly rebranded. Ensemble photos replace solo promotional images. Interview opportunities are being passed over or shared with other cast members. PR teams are focusing on damage control rather than star building. So why is this all happening so quickly? The answer lies in the unique speed and exposure of the digital age. Zegler's rise was meteoric. She went from YouTube covers to Spielberg's darling to a Disney princess in record time, but there was never a natural arc of public buy-in. Audiences didn't have time to grow with her. They were simply told she was the next big thing, and that kind of top-down marketing rarely works anymore. In today's culture, fans want authenticity. They want to feel like they discovered a star, not like they were told who to adore. When that doesn't happen, and the star in question comes off as aloof or antagonistic, the backlash is inevitable. The theater world, in particular, is merciless when it comes to star power. Unlike film or streaming, there are no digital metrics or manipulated algorithms, just seats to fill. If audiences aren't willing to pay for a ticket and show up in person, the production fails. Plain and simple. The fact that a major venue like the London Palladium is facing half-empty houses during a production headlined by a supposed rising star is a major red flag. The message from theatergoers is clear: we're not interested. What's even more troubling is that Zegler isn't cultivating strong relationships within the theater community either. In an industry that thrives on camaraderie, mutual support, and word of mouth, she seems isolated. The lack of visible support from her castmates in Evita speaks volumes. There are no viral backstage videos, no affectionate posts, no signs of chemistry. It feels transactional rather than collaborative, and that lack of genuine connection only adds to the sense that she's losing the people around her. Even her once dedicated fanbase is showing signs of fatigue. There's a weariness in the comments. People who wanted her to win now feel like they're defending someone who doesn't want their support, and that creates a fracturing that's difficult to repair. Fan support is emotional. Once that bond breaks, it's incredibly hard to rebuild. As for Snow White, the film remains unreleased, but all signs point to a major PR shift. Disney appears to be pulling back from Zegler as the face of the campaign. Instead of centering her in promotional materials, the focus is shifting to ensemble visuals and broader themes. It's a soft distancing tactic, designed to protect the film's potential success without overtly sidelining its star. But for anyone paying attention, the message is loud and clear: confidence is waning. In the end, Rachel Zegler's story isn't just about a single star's misfire. It's a reflection of how fragile modern celebrity can be. In an era where stars are expected to be both performers and public relations experts, the margin for error is razor thin. Zegler may have the talent, but talent alone isn't enough. Without humility, authenticity, and a genuine connection to the audience, even the most promising careers can stumble. There's still time for a course correction. Many actors have weathered similar storms and emerged stronger. But that journey begins with introspection, with a willingness to listen rather than lecture, and with a clear understanding that fame isn't granted, it's earned. Whether Zegler chooses to embrace that lesson or continue on her current path remains to be seen. But for now, her story stands as a cautionary tale of what happens when ambition, miscalculation, and miscommunication collide in the spotlight.